So, what is the most successful way to structure your job search? You need to first think about how to get organized. And why is that even important? Getting organized will help you to create a routine that will set your job search up for success. It also will help you to avoid distractions. Most of us will be doing our job search from home. So, if you have a specific process, all of your information organized, it'll help you to avoid those distractions. It'll also provide balance in your day, whether you're working full time and looking to change jobs or you're looking for a job full time. You want to make sure your job search is structured in a way that you're doing enough to be successful each day, but you're also planning in your other priorities and time for yourself. And lastly, it helps to support an optimistic job search. You're going to feel less like a hamster in a wheel because you'll have specific goals and structure to what you're doing. Let's talk about how to get started to organize. First, create a dedicated space, somewhere you can be distraction free. Budget your time. When are you going to be spending time on your job search and how much time? Set specific goals, whether that's outreach goals, application goals, etc. So you know that you're working towards success and establish that specific schedule. What does that look like each day, each week, each month? And then keep your contacts organized, your documents, your emails, all the versions of your resume, all of your contacts, all of the different connections you've made for a specific opportunity. That will help you to have everything in one place, easy to access, so you're prepared anytime a call comes in. Let's talk about planning your approach. This shows, on average, where most job seekers spend their time. So the majority, 30%, spend time searching for positions online, or 27% on top of that applying to positions, with only 24% of their time networking. Let's actually take a look at what gets people the jobs. So, when you are searching for a job, it's important to know the numbers that will help you to be successful. Over 80% of jobs are acquired through non published sources. For that reason, I recommend you spend 70% of your time networking, 20% of your time on planning, preparation, and professional development, and actually only 10% of your time looking for and applying to leads online. That's a very different approach than what people are actually doing. It's actually flipping it around a little bit, but important to know that so you're setting yourself up for as much success as possible. So, how do you do this? I recommend setting a 5 by 5 by 5 rule or goal for yourself. What this means is trying to do at least 5 job search activities, at least 5 days a week, and working towards 5 targets at all times. Now, this applies more to someone who's actively searching for a job. If you're passively searching for a job, this might look a little bit different. But actively searching for a job, I recommend 5 by 5 by 5. So 5 job search activities. This could be applying to promising leads online with a well-tailored resume. But since we know that approximately 80% of jobs come from non-published sources or networking, we want to make sure the majority of our 5 by 5 is focused on networking, reaching out to your existing network, connecting with people within that network and their network, scheduling informational interviews. This could include actual interviews and things like that. 5 job search activities at least 5 days a week and working towards 5 targets. Your 5 targets are helping you to know what it is you're networking towards. It might be a particular company that you're really interested in. That could be one of your 5. It might be a specific role at a specific organization that you're actively working towards. It might be an interview process you're already involved in. The idea is anytime one of your 5 falls off the radar for any reason, you add something else in. So you always have 5 activities or 5 targets that you're actively working towards. And here's just one example as you're looking to set a plan. Again, this would pertain more to someone who's actively searching for a job. Maybe you set a sample plan of 15 correspondences on LinkedIn per day, 10 calls reaching out to your network a day, 5 meetings, whether it be video or in person per week. And then the idea is you repeat those steps until you have 5 potential opportunities in the pipeline, hoping that 2 to 3 of them will turn into interviews. And you repeat that until you get that right job offer presented in writing. So, there are a number of common myths when we talk about this whole networking thing. A lot of times people think networking is just about schmoozing, or the longer the networking meeting, the better, or every single detail needs to be shared in depth in a networking meeting, or that you don't need to prepare, it's just networking, or that networking is all about having your contacts go out and find you a job. Guess what? All of these are myths, they are not accurate. Networking is an ongoing process where you discover and build a list of contacts. This is both personal and professional. It's where you strategically plan your networking efforts based on your goals. It's where you execute your plan utilizing in person and online methods in a structured, organized manner. So it's all about discovering your network, making a plan, and then executing that plan. A lot of people hesitate to network. They think that networking is complicated and it's best left to schmoozy real estate agents or salespeople. They might be afraid of rejection or even nervous about taking the right networking approach. But in reality, networking is something that many of us have done throughout our careers, whether we realize it or not. Making new friends, interviewing, starting a new job, or attending events. These are all networking activities that most of us have actually done before. And when it comes to professional networking, the strategy is a bit more focused. But with practice, it gets much easier. And before you know it, you will have mastered the art of networking. Many people make common mistakes when they begin their professional networking. They approach strangers asking for jobs or job leads or referrals to contacts. They send out large generic email blasts to large groups of people or those they haven't spoken to in a long time. Once they begin to get a bit of traction, some even miss meetings or make bad impressions by not using the time strategically. So, here I am to show you how you can avoid these mistakes and become a master networker right away. Now, there are 3 main job markets: the visible job market. This is what we're all aware of: job postings, things that are publicized. The hidden or unidentified job market. So, this is where we meet an amazing candidate. We don't have an opening, but we end up creating one for them. And the word of mouth job market. There are needs, but they might not be posted yet. So, what do? They look to their network to say, here's people that I think would be a really great fit for you. Let's talk a little bit about networking strategies. Now that we've defined what networking is and what it isn't, let's take that a little bit further. One thing is for sure, networking works. Most job seekers find their next opportunity by networking. And that's why I encourage you to spend the majority of your job search time focused on networking. When I talk about networking, I primarily mean face to face or video or, interacting with people, live people on the phone, video, or in person. And when you network correctly, you're not directly focused on meeting for a job, but instead you're focused on making a great impression and expanding your network, gaining insights that will help you in your search, and most importantly, offer value to someone else. By growing your professional network, you will become known to more people in your professional market. And when companies open a new position, the first thing they do is ask professionals that they know and trust if they have any referrals for the position. The more people that are aware of what you do and that you're available, the more likely it is that you'll get referred to one of these hidden job openings. So, throughout your networking conversations, you'll have the opportunity to gather insights into the job market. You get to learn as well about the industry and the function, and this can help guide your career decisions and your search strategy. You might discover that there is an in demand certification that could boost your competitiveness, or a new trend in your field that employers are seeking experts in. You'll get more job openings sent to you from your networking contacts, and you'll have the opportunity to discover a host of new resources for your search, including new contact introductions, niche job boards, recruiter referrals, networking groups, and lots of other things like that. So let's define your network a little bit. When we talk about networking, we first want to focus on who do we know? As you can see from this graphic, those closest to us create the greatest networking opportunities because they really know us and our capabilities. We call these our strong ties. These people consist of close friends, family, people we work with or recently worked with. These might also include hiring managers or HR managers that we have close ties with. The next layer of networking contacts is considered weak ties. These may be people we worked with some time ago, maybe students or teachers we've had in the past or been in class with in the past, maybe our friends of our closer friends. Then we get out to the weaker ties. These might be industry leaders we met at a conference or through LinkedIn. They could be our great aunt Emily or our third cousin Jeff, and perhaps friends of friends would be another example here. These people are all networking contacts, but again, the better they know us, the more they may be able to help. But just because a tie is weak in terms of your relationship, it doesn't mean this tie is not an important part of your networking strategy. It may just take more effort to engage with these individuals, to demonstrate your value, and develop that mutually beneficial relationship. Networking meetings. So, we've defined networking and talked about why it's important and identified members of our network. But let's talk a little bit about how we should be spending this time or what that time should look like. So, again, I recommend that 70% of all of your time in your job search is spent networking. This consists of outreach and follow up. Consistent direct outreach to contacts is one of the most important strategies in building a solid pipeline of opportunities. Reach out to existing contacts and new contacts within your target companies or your industry to build and grow your relationships. Participate in quick 20-minute networking meetings or informational interviews. Go to networking events. Build your LinkedIn network. Follow up with contacts that you previously made. Have a networking lunch or dinner. Make it your motto that you're never going to eat lunch alone. Find time to connect with a variety of friends, family members, former colleagues, and new business contacts on an ongoing basis. It's also a great opportunity to get away from your computer. Consider networking events and even volunteering. Engaging in volunteering in a meaningful way can really actually help you when it's something related to your career. It's also a really valid gap filler for your resume. So, if you're currently in the process of looking for a job, this could be a great thing to put on your resume to fill that time. Next, you want to spend approximately 20% of your time planning your week. So spend a couple hours a week planning the week ahead. During this time, you can schedule networking events into your calendar, create to do lists and goals for the week, and organize your search. Spend time marketing or building your brand. So spend an hour or two each week ensuring that you're highly visible to recruiters and hiring managers in your network. Post or refresh your resumes on job boards and company career pages. Keyword optimize your LinkedIn profile and build your overall presence by sharing interesting articles and information. It's also a great time to do your research. Use this time to prepare for interviews, research your target companies, find upcoming networking events, discover key contacts for outright outreach, and read up on trends in the industry or watch other types of webinars and things that contribute to your job search learning process. And then lastly, 10% reviewing posted positions. So only 10% of our job search should be spent reviewing and applying to jobs online. Again, the main reason here is because majority of jobs don't come this way. We don't want to ignore this. Still, approximately 20% of jobs are acquired this way. So we still want to do this. We just want to make sure we're not dedicating the largest percentage of our time to this. And if when you are applying to online, make sure you're doing a really good job to tailor that resume and align it really well with the position that you're applying to. So, getting into the right mindset. The first thing is to think about how great you feel after you network. So, even if networking is something you're a little intimidated by, think about how great you feel after you've just made a great connection. It's a powerful thing. And it's part of being a human being that can really uplift us all. The beauty of networking is that being able to connect with another person helps us not only in our job search, but helps us as human beings. I know for myself and for those that I work with, taking the time to go out and network, I typically have a more positive frame of reference and attitude versus those who don't do it. So think about that as you shift into that mindset of networking. The second point is to think about how it's going to benefit you personally as well as professionally. You're going to be strengthening your communication skills. You're going to be strengthening your professional network. You're going to be practicing your elevator pitch. You might even learn something new from the individuals you're networking with. So look at it as a growth opportunity versus something you have to do. The thing about networking is that these are skills that are going to help you throughout your career, not just when you need to look for work. It helps you overall, personally as well as professionally. So I know networking can be anxiety producing, at least for a lot of us, but you want to think about what you need to do to feel relaxed going into that conversation. Because if you're relaxed, you're going to bring more of your potential. So, as we talk about preparing for the networking conversation, one of the first things I suggest doing is looking at the contacts on the LinkedIn profile of the person you're meeting with. Make sure to connect with them on LinkedIn if you haven't already. And if you're connected with them on LinkedIn, you can hover over their connections, and it's possible that you can see all of their connections. This will depend on how they set up their preferences, but some people allow you to see all of their contacts. If so, scroll through the connections, find out who they know, what companies are in their connections. Jot down a few names of who you'd like to be introduced to. Do this work on the front end. When you do that, you can come up with a person or two that would be great for you to network with. And you want to be sure to ask them at the end of that networking meeting, would you feel comfortable introducing me to so and so at X, Y, and Z company? I'd love to have them in my network, and I have an exploratory or informational conversation with them. So you want to ask for permission and ask for them to make that introduction. Another part of the preparation is to be sure that you have your elevator pitch or your value proposition memorized. This is so important. A lot of times people don't put enough time into their elevator pitch or their value proposition, and then they come to the call or the meeting and end up going on about what they do or going through their resume in too much detail, and they end up losing the listener. You want to have that elevator pitch all prepared and ready to go so you can be concise and compelling. Think about just the energy that you bring, the enthusiasm. Something as simple as smiling when you talk can really convey that. And then one other resource I want to recommend is a book called The 20-Minute Networking Meeting. This is a fantastic book that outlines a specific strategy to employ when you're having 20-minute networking meetings. And again, it double clicks on that importance that networking is mutually beneficial. It's not just about what you're looking for, it's about how you can provide value to the other person as well. So let's look at a couple examples of networking conversations or networking scripts. The first one would be a one-on-one phone or face-to-face meeting. You could say, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. I'm excited to learn more about you and see how we can help each other professionally. I see you went to Colorado University, so did I. If there's an opportunity to make a connection, do so. Or how about you start and tell me a little bit about you and have them share some of their background information. Here's an example of a one-on-one phone or face-to-face script kind of continued here. Next, taking your turn after they share information, you share information. Share your value pitch. Say that you'd love to add them to your professional network and have an exploratory conversation. Ask them who would be beneficial for them to meet from your network and share with them who might be beneficial for you to meet from their network. Make note of what would be of support. So that way, when you follow up in your thank you email, maybe you can send an article or a link to something that they would find beneficial or informative based on your discussion. And you can include that in the follow up. Then here's an example of a LinkedIn script. So reaching out to someone who you want to meet, who's not already in your network. Say, hi, so and so, your LinkedIn profile got my attention. Or we are in the same group, and I wanted to reach out and introduce myself. I see you went to Lewis University, so did I. And then make a connection if there is one and ask a question related to this commonality. In the interest of expanding my professional network and collaborating with fellow professionals, I'm hoping we can connect. Would you be open to a cup of coffee or lunch or a 20-minute phone call to get to know each other? Thank you for your consideration of this connection request. Let me know what days and times work for you. So just a couple examples of what that can look like. So as far as next steps, think about what you're currently doing, and then think about that recommended strategy of 70, 20, and 10. Find ways to integrate more networking into your approach, since we know that's where most jobs come from. And remember to have a little fun along the way.